my background is 32 years of clinical experience, 27 in the NHS as a GP, and 5 years before that as a junior doctor in Ireland. And over the course of my GP career, I got involved in some leadership roles with system transformation. I got involved in a scheme called the Vanguard scheme, which was designed to try and improve access and prevention for patients. So during that time, it was probably at the peak of my career, and unknown to me, a long-term condition was gradually catching up on me. Ironically, a totally preventable condition, and here was me leading a program of trying to prevent long-term conditions in the NHS. So I can remember at that time I was beginning to feel really tired, really looking forward to going to bed. And I just thought it was the years coming on, and it was also perhaps I was working really hard. And one day I got some bloods done just to make sure there was nothing going on, and much to my shock, my HbA1c was 68 millimoles. Okay, so that's the same. We're talking the same units over there as here. I guess 48 would be diagnosis of diabetes, 41 would be normal. And I found it difficult because suddenly I was the patient. And so I said to myself, I need to do what I tell my patients. So I went to my GP. I got some medications. I was significantly overweight at the time because all the beautiful patients who were happy with whatever we did, they would gift us with cakes, biscuits, sweets. So for many years, I was continually grazing. Every time a cup of tea came, a slice of cake would come, a biscuit would come. And slowly but surely my belly was increasing in size, visceral fat increasing, and obviously going off a metabolic condition. So I took my medication. My GP told me I was overweight and to lose weight. And at that time, there was a leading brand associated with weight loss that the NHS was using, 2 letters and a dot after it. And so I actually brought them into the practice, and I queued up with my patients every Thursday night. And the papers told me that if I lost 5 kilograms, my diabetes control should improve. So having queued up with my patients for 3 months and taking the advice of this leading weight loss program, I did lose 5 kilograms. And I then repeated my bloods, right? And the HbA1c came back at 68. Okay, so that was immensely disappointing. And suddenly I was thinking, oh my God, I'm going to follow the path of many of my patients by just taking increasing numbers of medication. And things will gradually get worse because that's what I've been taught for most of my career. This is a chronic progressive condition. Things will deteriorate. Just keep taking the tablets, try and keep the lid on. And gradually you'll develop complications over time and eventually die prematurely, maybe 12 years before you should. But around that time, 2 patients came in, both from Southeast Asian background, both with normal BMIs, and both had starting HbA1cs over 100. Okay, so really badly out of control diabetes. And I said to them, you need to go on some medications. And interestingly, both of them were engineers. Both of them said, can you leave me alone and let me see if I can fix it. So they both came back probably about 3 months later, and both HbA1cs had come down into the 70s, right? And I was amazed. I said, "Done amazingly well. Not sure what you've done because you hadn't any weight to lose, but your sugars are much better. But you still have a long way to go. So I still need to give you medications." And then they asked for one more trial of maybe another 6 months, where they said they had partially done what they planned on doing, but they tried to do it properly this time. And when they came back 6 months later, both of them had HbA1cs under 40. Right, and I was absolutely blown away by this. And what was very disappointing then, when I asked them what they did, they said initially they didn't want to tell me because they knew I would say they should stop. It's very dangerous, which for me, I felt disappointed, because then that meant I must be giving across this idea that people can't really talk openly to me, and we can have frank discussion about things. These guys taught me a lot. And of course, as we know, what they did was they removed sugar from their diet, they removed carbohydrates from their diet. And for them, the key thing that they needed to remove was rice and chapatis. And that was the big, so people from that area, particularly who eat a lot of chapatis, apparently chapatis are the last thing that's very hard to give up. And so I looked up this thing called low carb, high fat, to see if there was any evidence, because we've got a wonderful NHS system, and if there's something that's evidence-based, we must be using it. And of course, there was hundreds of papers, loads of trials, loads of evidence. And I was mystified, why aren't we using this? So I said, well, my patients have done this, so I'll do this. And of course, within 3 months, by adding cream to my coffee, 17 kilograms just fell off. All right. My HbA1c came down into the low 40s, so not into the normal range, but stayed there. So effectively, I went into a technical remission from type 2 diabetes.
So what exactly did you do? Obviously, it wasn't just the cream in the coffee, but you lowered your you must have lowered your carbohydrates.
Absolutely. So suddenly, having read all this, you learn where the hidden carbohydrates are, so you just stop them. So essentially, it was omelets in the morning, chicken breasts and salad for lunch, and then maybe steak and cabbage with butter in the evening. Mm-hmm. So I was eating like a king, and eating all this fat that should be killing me, feeling great. Weight was just falling off despite me eating more than I'd ever eaten before. And energy levels were coming back. I was sleeping beautifully and just feeling great in the mornings when I woke up. So then I tried it out with a few of my patients. And again, when patients come in, I'd say, look, we've got two options here. We can give you medications, or we can try and fix root cause. Which would you prefer? And on the whole, 95% would say, let's fix the root cause. And again, dramatic, really fast results were happening. So weight was dropping quickly, sugars were dropping quickly. And when I talked to my colleagues about this, one or two understood it, but the rest said, look, we've got guidelines. This is the way our clinics run. What you're suggesting is not the way our organization is set up. So which was a bit disappointing, to say the least. So it was probably around that time I decided to plan my retirement from the NHS.